Hey, what's up? Ryan Kohler here, founder of Applicant Pro, CEO of Refer, and today we're going to talk about how do you build and create what I call books of knowledge for your organization. I fundamentally believe it is one of the cornerstones of great content strategy that you have collected and captured information that you can then disseminate to your teams to give them better insights into the world, better context around what you're trying to do. Now, let's jump in here and we'll talk about what are the books of knowledge we need, and then we'll talk about how to create them. So, the easy one right off the bat is Employee Handbook. And clearly that's a book of knowledge of policies and procedures and rules, all that kind of stuff. And that's the bare minimum. And it really is not going to drive performance per se. It's just going to drive compliance, which is great. Everybody gets on the same page. We provide clarity. We provide authenticity and transparency. Hey, that's a win. Step one, book of knowledge, Employee Handbook. But from there, we need additional books of knowledge. So the next book of knowledge, we'll call the culture book. I know that Zappos has a great one and Netflix has a great one. So you can go and research that. But the idea of a culture book is to actually take your company and really unpack, the founding story, where we came from, how we were created, what the goal was, what is our culture like, what is our business model and our alter ego, or kind of the role we're playing. Are we the big dog? Are we the follower? Are we the underdog? Are we the disruptor? From an organization standpoint, what is that identity of how we show up in the world, right? Along with those values should connect. So we have kind of like where we came from, our founding story. We have kind of our mission. What are we trying to accomplish? We have our character. How do we show up? We have our core values. These are the hill we'll die on. These are the core things that we believe in. And how does that translate over into how we show up to our customers, to our employees, to our partners in the world, whatever the case may be. This right here is our culture book. It's more than just, we have fun. It's more than just, benefits and perks, although those are great things, and teamwork and team engagement and the environment and the culture you are creating is important from that aspect. But if you're going to build a performance culture, meaning where you have fun and it turns into value, where you have fun or you act a certain way and it turns into results, then you have to tie this entire thing together. We're not just creating a fun place to work for kicks and giggles. We're creating a fun place to work because it opens up our creativity, and that creativity is used to drive our mission forward. And so that right there is kind of our culture book. Now, the next one is kind of our competitive landscape book, and that could be part of the culture book if you want, and is a great way or addition where you actually say, wait, I'm going to zoom out. Let's talk about the customer. Let's talk about their problems and pains. Let's talk about their potential solutions. Let's talk about the industry at large, not just our segment and what we offer and who our competitors are, but also what comes before us, what comes after us, what comes during us. What's the ecosystem like? And that ecosystem gives just broad context to our employees. Even if they've been in the industry for a while, it really will help them start to see, hey, the difference between a partner, for us in the HR world, we built an applicant tracking system. Cool, right? But the context needed to be explained of, well, these are what job boards are, right? And this is how college recruiting career services is. And here's the ATS. And here is the onboarding software. And here's what comes after us, payroll and HRS. And by the way, along this applicant tracking time period from the time they post a job to get applicants to the time they decide to hire, hey, there's also background check vendors and assessment vendors and video interview vendors and all this entire ecosystem. I probably made maybe 5 videos across the 18-year period that I was at Applicant Pro. And I would constantly re-update that and then retrain the team on zoom out. Let's look at this giant ecosystem. All right, these are all the vendors and where they fit. Or along the customer journey, I would take that same thing. Let's zoom out. Let's look at the job that our core users are doing, not just what they do using our software, but what drives this, what initiates it, what triggers it. how does that back and forth work? And then, where do they push it afterwards? And who do they report to? And what are the challenges and the negativity that happens when things go bad? And what's the positivity and the wins that happen when things go good? We want to know as much about that customer layer along with our ecosystem that we're competing in, because the more that we knew, the more context we had, the more we had the ability to see the world from other people's vantage point, the more we could see what was coming next, right? And so that is hugely valuable. Now, the next layer on here, I'll call the playbook. And the playbook starts at the company level, but generally works down into each of your business units or departments. And it says, hey, what is our scheme that we're running, right? Are we inbound marketing or outbound marketing? Are we marketing focused? Or are we sales focused? Do we do social media versus email? Are we doing an educational content strategy? Hey, on the backside, like what kind of production? Are we reselling somebody's stuff? Are we drop shipping? Like each of your, and while I say you could do this based on department, you really want to do it based off of your customer engine and your product offering engine and those types of things to make sure you don't miss anything or silo. And so you try to take and take each department or each business area and define it. Hey, what is the mission of this area? How does it, drive to our overall success? And what are the core strategies they're going to run? And as you come down, what are the core tactics that they run? And, who do they follow? Like what book, what podcast, what blog, what company that went before us are we trying to mimic? Because the more context that you give employees to be able to understand, oh, that's the scheme we're running. That's the strategy we're running. We're doing marketing like HubSpot. We're doing hiring like Netflix. We're doing these, we do email marketing like this. That gives them something to connect to all the way down to the processes, right? The processes of, hey, here's what you do. Here's how it works. That gives us this ability to go all the way up to understand why, right? Now that we've got all these books laid out, you most likely are saying, okay, that would be amazing, but how do we actually create that? That sounds like a lot of work, right? So this is where my two favorite things in life come in. Number one is ChatGPT. Two favorite softwares, generative AI and transcription software. Those two, and I use ChatGPT plus Otter.ai, or I use Talent AI tools plus Otter.ai. I use these two in tandem literally all day long. And so how do we go about using that? Well, we go into ChatGPT and we explain what we're trying to do. Quick note here, I've got some cool tools coming out. You can use Talent AI tools, and I build these in. But you go into ChatGPT and you explain, hey, we're trying to build a culture book, right? And we want that culture book to be, cover A, B, C, and D. Awesome, right? Now we ask it, hey, what would you need to know from us? What information could we provide you to give you the context you need to help us write it? Now that's going to give us an entire list of stuff. I might say, okay, well, now that I've got that, who should I interview and what questions should I ask them to get you this information? And now you've all of a sudden gotten to, okay, we're doing this project, and whatever book it is, it doesn't matter. Here's the book we want to create. Here is, hey, what would you need to know to gather the context from us so that you can help us write it? And who would I need to interview and what would I need to ask them? That'll give you questions. Now you go do those interviews, and two different ways to do it, or three really. Whether it's all like groups of people or one at a time, but you hop on Zoom and you press record and you interview them. Now, if you're doing it in person, pull out your handy little phone here, go to the Otter app, hit record and literally just talk back and forth through it. Now, I love Zoom because I also get the video, and that means I could go and chunk that video up and use it to train my team, right? Use those little snippets. But worst case, I just want the transcript. And so I record it on Zoom, drop it into Otter, and pull the transcript back, and I say, hey, ChatGPT, here's the transcript of all of these interviews that we've done. Now it has enough context so we can now say, hey, will you outline this for me? Like, outline our book of knowledge based off this. Now we might want to give it our tone of voice. So we're going to have to provide it with previously written emails, blog posts, our Employee Handbook, whatever it is that we want to be able to say, hey, we want this content written in a certain way. And now we can just literally cycle prompts to write a book. Just like we were going to publish a book. We came up with the concept. We asked it what it needed to know. We told it what the goal was. We asked it what it needed to know. It gave us interview questions. We actually interviewed people. We gave it back the transcript. And now we said, hey, make us a chapter outline for this book. And then let's write each chapter. And so you just write all of that content. Now, you may give this to your employees. I would give them a whole book of content and make it engaging. Make it, this is an internal document. So you can make it as transparent, authentic, and engaging as you want, which is what you want, so that people will read it. So that's number one. Now we've got this book of knowledge. We're going to be able to now use that to create our drip content, to create our FAQ, to create all different types of small chunks of content that lead them back to that section in that book. And so whether it's my playbook, whether it's my strategy book, whether it's my strategy including the entire ecosystem, whether it's my culture book, or whether it's in my employee handbook, once I have these core books of information there and available, and clearly I can give everybody access to it, but more importantly, those become my knowledge bases as I use generative AI to now create drip emails, FAQs, follow-up stuff, you name it. All that kind of cool information as I build a chatbot where people can talk to it and go pull it. All that stuff requires at its core a knowledge base to point it to. So hopefully this makes sense. Watch, because in the near future, I'm going to be releasing a set of tools, and I'll throw them out for you that will actually make it really easy for you to do exactly what I just explained. So watch for a future release of that. Otherwise, thanks so much for listening. Hey, take a minute. Hit subscribe, go down there in the comments and leave me a comment. Tell me that you love it, hate it, whatever it is, but please just give me some feedback on this and share it with a friend. Otherwise, hey, we'll talk to you again later.